Every major characters in the Old Testament explained. Adam. Adam is presented as the first human, created directly by God and placed in the Garden of Eden. He represents humanity in its original state, innocent, untested, and entrusted with stewardship over creation. Adam's defining moment is his disobedience in eating from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. This act introduces sin, suffering, and death into human experience. Adam's story establishes the themes of free will, responsibility, and the broken relationship between humanity and God that shapes the rest of the Old Testament. Eve. Eve is created as Adam's partner and equal, formed to share in human purpose and companionship. She is the first to eat the forbidden fruit after being deceived by the serpent, and then gives it to Adam. Eve's role highlights temptation, choice, and consequence. She is also the mother of all living, symbolizing both the origin of human life and the beginning of human struggle. Her story shows that despite failure, life and hope continue. Noah. Noah lives in a world described as overwhelmingly corrupt. He is chosen because of his righteousness and obedience. God commands him to build an ark to preserve life during a global flood meant to cleanse the earth. Noah's faith is demonstrated through action, as he follows instructions despite ridicule. After the flood, God establishes a covenant with Noah, symbolized by the rainbow, promising never again to destroy the earth by water. Noah represents obedience, judgment, and mercy. Abraham. Abraham is the foundational patriarch of Israel. God calls him to leave his homeland and promises to make him a great nation. Abraham's life centers on faith, believing God's promises even when they seem impossible. His willingness to sacrifice his son Isaac demonstrates ultimate trust. God establishes a covenant with Abraham, promising land, descendants, and blessing to all nations through him. Abraham's story defines faith as trust in God rather than certainty in circumstances. Isaac. Isaac is the child of promise, born to Abraham and Sarah in old age. His near sacrifice becomes a powerful symbol of obedience and divine provision. Isaac's life is quieter than his father's, yet significant in preserving the covenant. He inherits God's promises and passes them on to his sons. Isaac represents continuity and God's faithfulness across generations. Jacob. Jacob begins as a deceiver, stealing his brother Esau's birthright and blessing. His life is marked by struggle, exile, and personal transformation. After wrestling with God, Jacob is renamed Israel, meaning one who struggles with God. His 12 sons become the ancestors of the 12 tribes of Israel. Jacob's story emphasizes that flawed individuals can be transformed and used for divine purposes. Joseph. Joseph is betrayed by his brothers and sold into slavery, yet rises to power in Egypt through integrity and wisdom. Despite injustice and imprisonment, Joseph remains faithful. His ability to interpret dreams leads to his appointment as a ruler who saves Egypt and surrounding nations from famine. Joseph ultimately forgives his brothers, recognizing God's plan behind his suffering. His story highlights providence, forgiveness, and redemption. Moses. Moses is chosen to deliver Israel from slavery in Egypt. Raised in Pharaoh's household yet identifying with his people, Moses flees into exile before being called by God through the burning bush. He confronts Pharaoh, leads the Exodus, parts the Red Sea, and receives the law at Mount Sinai. Moses serves as mediator between God and Israel. His life represents leadership, covenant, and the foundation of Israel's religious law. Aaron. Aaron, Moses' brother, serves as the first high priest of Israel. He acts as Moses' spokesperson and plays a central role in worship and sacrifice. Despite moments of failure, including the golden calf incident, Aaron's priesthood establishes a system of mediation between God and the people. His role highlights both human weakness and divine grace within religious leadership. Joshua. Joshua succeeds Moses and leads Israel into the Promised Land. Known for courage and obedience, Joshua oversees military campaigns and the division of land among the tribes. His leadership emphasizes faith in God rather than military strength. Joshua's farewell challenges Israel to choose faithfulness over compromise. He represents fulfillment of promise and disciplined obedience. Judges. The judges are a series of leaders raised by God during Israel's cyclical pattern of sin, oppression, repentance, and deliverance. Figures like Deborah, Gideon, and Samson reveal both faith and moral failure. The period of the Judges illustrates the dangers of moral chaos and the need for righteous leadership. Their stories emphasize God's patience and repeated mercy. Samuel. Samuel serves as the last judge and first major prophet of Israel. Dedicated to God from childhood, he restores spiritual leadership during a time of decline. Samuel anoints Israel's first two kings, Saul and David. His life bridges the era of judges and monarchy. Samuel represents obedience, integrity, and prophetic authority. Saul. Saul is Israel's first king, chosen to unify the tribes and defend against enemies. Though physically impressive, Saul struggles with obedience and insecurity. His repeated disobedience leads to God rejecting him as king. Saul's decline illustrates how pride and fear can destroy leadership. His tragic life contrasts external strength with internal weakness. David. David begins as a shepherd and becomes Israel's greatest king. Known for defeating Goliath and uniting the nation, David is described as a man after God's own heart. Yet his life includes grave failures, including adultery and murder. David's repentance and reliance on God define his legacy. His lineage becomes central to messianic hope. Solomon. Solomon, David's son, is renowned for wisdom, wealth, and building the temple in Jerusalem. His reign represents Israel's golden age. However, Solomon's later years are marked by compromise and idolatry due to foreign influences. His life illustrates the danger of wisdom without faithfulness. Solomon's legacy is both achievement and warning. Elijah confronts rampant idolatry in Israel, challenging kings and false prophets. His confrontation with the prophets of Baal demonstrates God's power. Elijah experiences both bold faith and deep despair, revealing the human cost of prophetic ministry. He is taken to heaven without dying, symbolizing divine authority and hope. Elisha continues Elijah's work, performing miracles that emphasize compassion and restoration. His ministry focuses on healing, provision, and guidance. Elisha's story shows that God's power is not only dramatic, but also personal and practical. Isaiah delivers messages of judgment and hope. He condemns injustice and idolatry while proclaiming future restoration. Isaiah contains some of the clearest messianic prophecies, describing a suffering servant who will redeem the people. His writings shape Jewish and Christian theology. Jeremiah warns Judah of impending destruction due to persistent disobedience. Despite rejection and persecution, he remains faithful. Jeremiah emphasizes internal transformation rather than ritual obedience. His life reflects the emotional burden of speaking unpopular truth. Daniel remains faithful while serving in foreign courts. His refusal to compromise leads to miraculous deliverance, including survival in the lion's den. Daniel's visions reveal God's sovereignty over empires and history. His life demonstrates unwavering faith under pressure. Esther risks her life to save her people from genocide. Though God's name is never mentioned in her story, divine providence is evident throughout. Esther's courage and timing preserve the Jewish people. Her story highlights bravery, identity, and hidden purpose. If you'd like to keep our channel grow, please like and subscribe.